Alright, so today I want to talk about Kobe. A lot of people talking about Kobe, a lot of videos being made about Kobe, and I don't want to act like this is something new. Kobe has always been a divisive player. Some people think he's top 3, some people think he's not top 10 at all. And recently, when Bleacher Report had him at 11 and had Steph Curry at 10, a lot of people went crazy about that, which led to more conversations about where Kobe ranks all time. I don't really care where you rank Kobe all time. But as a fan of Kobe, there's a couple things that really bother me. First of all, y'all ruined my favorite team of all time because you guys push so many narratives on this team. It's hard to just enjoy the team for what it was. And I'm talking about the Kobe and Powell Lakers. You have players on that team that might be overrated because people want you to believe that Kobe had a bunch of help. Or you have players on that team that might be underrated because people want you to believe that Kobe just carried the team by himself, when in reality it's somewhere in the middle, as it always is somewhere in the middle. And it seems like only Kobe gets that in a negative way. You think of LeBron and what he did in his first stint in Cleveland, all those players are kind of just seen as bums because LeBron was carrying them, right? I think of the last Steph Curry championship in that run, and people just talk about it like Steph Curry was carrying them on his back because somewhat he was, of course. But what Jordan Poole did that run, what Wiggins did that run, what Klay Thompson did that run, is kind of forgotten in effort to prop up Steph Curry, right? That happens, right? That's not a strictly Kobe thing. But I don't really see anyone else being overrated to make a case that someone else isn't as good, right? And that only happens with Kobe in my eyes. But we're going to circle all the way back to that, and we're going to talk about how people say that Kobe didn't make his teammates better, right? But we're going to come back to that. One thing people say about Kobe, which is a very irrelevant argument to me, but I'm not sure if it's true either, is Kobe was never the best player in the NBA. If you look at the top 10 players of all time, how many can you actually definitively say that about? To me, there's only 4 players you can say that about. It's Michael Jordan, it's LeBron, it's Kareem, and it's Shaq. Now, if you want to make the argument that Kobe's with LeBron and Jordan, that's another thing. You're on your own there, right? Even if I like Kobe more, even if I would take Kobe on my team, I can't make a statistical argument to support that claim. So I'm not going to do that, right? If you're having those discussions, then bring up that argument. Kobe was never the best player in the NBA, right? I don't know if that's true, but that makes more sense. But when we're comparing him to Tim Duncan or Steph Curry or Kevin Durant or Larry Bird, right? All of these players, there was always an argument to whether they were the best or not. It was never definitive. Even Tim Duncan, which is something I want to bring up. Listen, there was a rivalry there. Of course, I'm on the Kobe side, but this is where I have a problem with saying Kobe was never the best player in the NBA. Even though I don't think that's a relevant argument to the conversation, I'm not sure how you can say that when Kobe went to 3 straight finals and won 2 of them in the middle of Tim Duncan's prime, beat him in the conference finals. Not only did he beat him in 5, abused him in the pick and roll, shot 53% from the field in that series, right? Of course, I'm not saying Tim Duncan was supposed to lock down Kobe. I'm just saying what happens, but he beats him in 5, proceeds to go to 2 more finals. So when does a player go to 3 straight finals, win 2 of them, win 2 finals MVPs, and win a regular season MVP, and that player isn't the best player in the world? Tell me another time that has happened. I can answer my own question and say probably Magic and Bird, but Magic and Bird were meeting up. They were battling it out. Kobe played Tim Duncan that one time that first year, never played him again. LeBron was not making the finals. So how is Kobe not the best player in the world for that 3-year span? I don't even care about it being true or not. I just want to know the logic in the argument against it. And why do we hold that to Kobe and not Steph Curry, not Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, right? But I just want to know, when has that ever not been the criteria for being the best player in the world? I won MVP. I went to 3 straight finals. I won 2 of them. I won 2 finals MVPs. And you're still saying I'm not the best player in the world? Meanwhile, the 2 other guys you're saying are better than me are not making it here. They're not. They're getting sent home by Dwight Howard. Like, no disrespect. And we all know what was going on in Cleveland during that time in terms of the roster around LeBron, even though I think LeBron teammates get underrated now in the same way that Kobe teammates get overrated, because it's the effort to make LeBron look like the superhero. Obviously, LeBron is LeBron. I'm never going to be one of the guys to argue that Kobe's over LeBron, even though I would rather have Kobe. I'm just not going to make the argument. It does matter to be bigger, faster, stronger. Like, LeBron is LeBron. But that 3-year span, how can we not give that to Kobe? Especially over Tim Duncan at that time. He dominated the conference, only went to 7 games one time in those 3 years, and that was to the Rockets after Yao Ming got hurt, because that was a weird situation, right? That was almost one of the greatest upsets in NBA history. But besides that, never went 7 games. And during this year's finals, I dropped a video talking about how Shea was reminding me of Kobe, not in play style, but in terms of his role on that team. On a team that was great defensively, a team that was big, that could beat teams on the boards, right, with Hartenstein and Chet. Kobe was kind of the same thing with Powell and Lamar and Bynum, but in terms of scoring the ball, it was all Kobe. Like, it was really Kobe. If he didn't score, they didn't win. Even more so than this OKC team, because J-Dub can go get his own bucket more than someone like Powell could. And I just don't think there was anybody else in the world that could do what Kobe had to do in terms of scoring the ball on a night-to-night basis that was needed to win playoff games. The team was built perfectly around Kobe's skill set to take and make incredibly difficult shots. In the last 11 games of the 09 playoffs to win a championship, Kobe scored over 30 points in 9 of the last 11 games. Because that is what he had to do. As great as Powell was, as great as Lamar was, they needed that 30 points from Kobe every single night, and he delivered on it. And I'm pretty sure you guys have heard me say this before, but Pau Gasol, how many 30-point games do you think Powell had in the playoffs? He only had 3, and I know we don't look at Powell as some crazy scorer, right? But it's not like Kobe could look at Powell and say, you know what, I need 30 points tonight. That wasn't happening. Lamar Odom only has 1 30-point playoff game, only 5 25-point playoff games, and these guys were amazing. But there was still so much on Kobe to be that offensive engine around a lot of limited offensive players. And now we can get into it, whether you want to give Kobe credit for this, whether you want to give Lamar and Powell and Derek Fisher and Phil Jackson the credit for it. But if you look at the roster, like, listen, I think Powell is underrated in a lot of ways. I think Lamar Odom is one of the most underrated defenders we've ever seen. Like, Lamar Odom was a beast defensively, and that obviously was a huge determining factor in them being so good. If you look at that Tim Duncan series I was talking about, Tim Duncan was in hell that series because Powell and Lamar were doing a great job. But the rest of that team, of course, you had Andrew Bynum, who did not play at all the first year where they lost in the finals. The first championship run, he played 17 minutes per game. The second one, he played 24 minutes per game. And he was effective in those minutes for sure. But it's not like that was some all-star big during that run. It was a normal run-of-the-mill big. Like, he was really good in his role. I'm not going to say he was bad, but it's not what people prop it up to be, those Bynum years. And you could honestly make an argument that the team got worse when they leaned more into Bynum than Lamar Odom, but that's not the point of this video. But in terms of making other players better, if you look at everyone else on this roster, and let's include Powell and Lamar in terms of Kobe making them better, but everyone else on this roster, and look at what they did after this run, it makes you look at things a little bit differently. Like Jordan Farmar, right? People thought Jordan Farmar was going to be this starter. He was going to leave the Lakers. He was going to have this flourishing career. Didn't do much. He was overseas in a couple years. Sasha Vujacic, the machine, right? Jordan Farmar and Sasha were Kobe's guys. He brought them up. They were supposed to be next. He was also out of the league in a couple years. Jordan Farmar and Sasha playing real minutes on championship teams on a 65-win team. They leave Kobe. They're out of the league in a couple years. Josh Powell. Do you guys even know who Josh Powell is? Another player that was getting minutes on a championship team with Kobe, was out of the league in a couple years. All these guys were out the league. Now, to be fair, Josh Powell was not getting real playoff minutes. He was only playing like 5 minutes per game in the playoffs, which is still minutes. But that first championship run, when they won 65 games in the regular season, Josh Powell getting 5 minutes per game in the playoffs, Sasha getting 11 minutes per game in the playoffs, Jordan Farmar getting 13 minutes per game in the playoffs, Shannon Brown getting 13 minutes per game in the playoffs, Luke Walton getting 16 minutes per game in the playoffs, all only worked because they were playing off of the best player in the world at this time, Kobe Bryant. And honestly, even someone like Trevor Ariza, who went on to have a very good NBA career, when the Lakers lost him, it was like they lost the next Kawhi Leonard or something. He was just a good role player. So the idea that Kobe didn't make his teammates better or Kobe was holding his teammates back, there's really no evidence of that. Even if you want to go back to like Smush Parker. Now that situation, there seemed to be something personal there. We'll never really know what happened there. But from Smush's side, it seems like a messed up situation. I'll give you that, but we don't know what really happened. And also, Smush Parker was Smush Parker. I think Smush Parker is another situation where people use that to make Kobe look bad, but if you actually look at it and look at what Smush Parker did in his career beyond the years he played with Kobe, he didn't do anything. He couldn't really get on the court because he was a point guard that wasn't a great passer. With Kobe, he averaged 11 points per game, played all 82 games back-to-back years, and the next year after he left the Lakers was his last year in the NBA. And I'm sure there was some type of injury, right? But Smush Parker did nothing without Kobe. So what was he supposed to do with these players? Kwame Brown? Kobe was supposed to make him an all-star? Like, who was Kobe holding back? Who did he not make better? And I don't know if I said it in this video, but my two favorite players of all time are Kobe and Steph Curry. And I'm gonna make a video comparing the two at some point. As of right now, I would say I take Kobe over Steph Curry, but I bring it up because the way people talk about Steph Curry and how he's such a great teammate and he fits around anybody could play next to Steph Curry and he makes everyone better and the gravity, all that. I actually feel like so much of that applies to Kobe as well, right? I'm not gonna downplay what Steph Curry does, although I do want to have a deeper dive into what it's like to play next to Steph Curry. But when you look at someone like a Luke Walton, that's the type of player that only works next to a Kobe or a Steph Curry, someone that's going to be relentless, chucking the ball, and you could just fit in and get them the ball, set good screens, be a role player. Being that relentless allows other players to do what they can do at a high level. It allows Lamar and Powell to be the best version of themselves because they know Kobe has that taken care of. And I just feel like that is very underrated. Which brings me to the last thing I want to talk about, and we'll kind of pair these things together. One, you hear people say Kobe wasn't a good passer. That's just not true. And two, you hear people say that Kobe wasn't like a malleable star. Like, how does that make any sense? He played with Shaq. He played with the most dominant force you could play with and filled in all the gaps around him. He was essentially playing point guard with Shaq. Then Shaq leaves and he's scoring 35 points per game, dominating the ball. He gets Powell, he gets Lamar. He's off ball more, allowing Powell and Lamar to be the great passers that they are. Like, I think Kobe could have played with anybody. He defended 1, 2, and 3, sometimes 4. And obviously, if you look at the three-point stats, they're not gonna look great, but you're telling me you don't think Kobe could have adjusted to that role and been a better three-point shooter? The reality is Kobe never played in an environment where he needed to do less. They always needed more from him. But I think Kobe was such a basketball genius that he could have played any role on the court if it made sense, right? I'm not saying Kobe would have been satisfied averaging 15 points a game, but do I think Kobe in the right situation could have put up 22 points per game and 5 boards and 5 assists and amazing defense on a championship team playing next to other stars? What evidence do we have to say that he couldn't have done that? And also, why is that a question that gets asked about Kobe? No one's asking if LeBron could scale down his game. Like, no one's asking that. Kobe was Kobe. No one's asking what would Steph Curry be like in a situation where he didn't have a green light to shoot, because that's a dumb question. No one's asking what would Magic Johnson look like if he didn't have the ball in his hands. That's stupid. But if you are asking that dumb question to somehow discredit Kobe, I think you're actually giving Kobe a lot of credit, because Kobe, I think, had the skill set, the mentality, the defense to fit next to any star ever. And you can't say that about a lot of people. We've seen Kobe play 1, 2, and 3 on both sides of the court. We've seen Kobe scale up his three-point shooting when he had to. We've seen Kobe meeting people at the rim when he had to. Like, the conversations about Kobe are so crazy to me. And that brings me to the last point I want to talk about. And it's the fact that Kobe was from a different era. And when you start looking at players today and compare them to Kobe, it's going to get lost, right? I'm feeling like an old head saying that. But I look at guys like Devin Booker, DeMar DeRozan. You're telling me you think Kobe wasn't as good of a passer as them, or he just played in a different era where it was natural to give the ball to your point guard? Now, I'm not saying Kobe would have been like this James Harden level playmaker, but Kobe would have been racking up assists in today's NBA. One, because it's easier. Again, not trying to sound like an old head, but with all the three-point shooting, it's pretty easy to get assists. And also it's more celebrated, it's more wanted, I guess, right? Kobe comes from an era where your shooting guard is your shooting guard. And like I said, he did play point guard pretty much, and Derek Fisher was more off ball, but there's a reason Kobe wanted Chris Paul. There's a reason he wanted Steve Nash, because that's how he thought it went. That's how we all thought it went. Your point guard, your facilitator, your two guards gonna get you buckets. And to me, as a Kobe fan, this is one of the more tragic things about the Achilles tear, is he was just now hitting that other side of it where, you know what, no, I can run everything. I can be the point guard. And what's funny about that, the year he tore his Achilles was a career high in assists, tied with the year after Shaq left. A similar situation where, you know what, I gotta run everything. And again, I don't want to further any narratives that Kobe wasn't a good passer, because if you look at those years he spent with Shaq, if you look at from the 1999 season until Shaq left, Kobe averaged over 5 assists per game. So I don't want to make it seem like he wasn't a good passer, but I think when he tore his Achilles, he was about to hit another level as a playmaker. And it seems like the further away we get from it, it's now being depicted as if, oh, Kobe just got hurt at the end of his career. That's not what happened. Kobe was still in the middle of his prime. He made first team All-NBA this same year. So I know I got off on a tangent here. I kind of just been rambling for 15 minutes now. Very passionate about Kobe. You can have your fair criticisms about Kobe, but let them make sense, right? Wasn't the best player in the NBA ever? Okay, that's just not true. But even if you believe that, why is that a Kobe argument? That is just manufactured hate, because if anything, it's a debate between Tim Duncan and Kobe for who was the best player in the NBA at that time, right? Because they want to dismiss the Kobe stans, which I kind of agree, right? You got people that will look you dead in the face and say Kobe was better than Jordan. There's nothing you can really do with those people. What are you gonna say to that? But people think Tim Duncan was better than Kobe. I disagree. I'm not gonna argue with you, because you have your reasons, and it's debatable. To me, it's debatable. Some people say Steph Curry is better than Kobe. I disagree. It's debatable. I'll let you have that argument. I'm not gonna call you stupid. But for whatever reason, when it comes to Kobe, it feels like people look at you like you're dumb if you say Kobe's better than Tim Duncan or Kobe's better than Hakeem. Like, people look at you like you're crazy. I really don't understand it. Maybe it's just me being biased in my fandom toward Kobe. Maybe that's what it is. You guys let me know what it is in the comments down below. Once again, I want to thank you guys for getting me to 10K subscribers. Still doesn't actually feel real. So yeah, thank you guys. Keep it going. Please like, comment, subscribe. It will mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.